Labor Senator Fatima Payman has been indefinitely suspended from the Labor Party caucus by the Prime Minister after a series of defiant actions regarding her support for Palestinian statehood. The Senator crossed the floor this week to vote for a Greens motion calling on the Senate to recognise a Palestinian state. Political reporter Evelyn Manfield joins us live from Parliament House. Evelyn, how did this all unfold?
Dan, well, as you mentioned there, earlier this week, Labor Senator from Western Australia, Fatima Payman, crossed the floor in the Senate. So what happened was the Greens put forward a motion calling on the Senate to recognise the state of Palestine. Both the government and the opposition tried to make amendments to that motion, but those amendments ultimately failed. They didn't get the support of the Senate, and so it went back to this original motion. And that's when we saw Senator Fatima Payman cross the floor. So she sided with the Greens while the rest of her Labor colleagues sat on the opposite side of the chamber, which is a breach of party policy. Then this morning, in an interview on the ABC's Insiders program, she warned that she would do it all again and cross the floor if it came to it. Now, we understand she was then spoken to by the Prime Minister just hours after this interview happened. He called her to his residence at the lodge. We understand there's been vision of her leaving the lodge, and the Prime Minister relayed a decision that was made by himself, the Deputy Prime Minister Richard Marles, the Foreign Minister Penny Wong, and then Senator Don Farrell as well. And so that was the decision to indefinitely suspend her from the party's caucus. A government spokesperson has since said that she placed herself outside the privilege of the Labor Party, but left the door open, saying that if she decided to respect caucus, she could return at some point in the future.
Evelyn, just why is this such a big issue for the Labor Party?
Yeah, it's an important question because it's against Labor Party policy to not vote with the rest of your colleagues. And so this was a big move by Senator Payman because it's actually been decades since a Labor member voted against the rest of their party while the Labor government was in office. And there has been discussions in recent days sort of reflecting on the same-sex marriage debate as well, with people pointing to Senator Penny Wong as an example of someone who opposed same-sex marriage while she worked within her party to try and gain that support. And that was something that Senator Fatima Payman addressed in her interview today, saying that that took years for the Labor Party to get on board that debate, and saying that in her view, Palestinians don't have time because of course, how the conflict is evolving there in Gaza. Now, we did also hear from the Deputy Prime Minister Richard Marles today. He said that caucus solidarity is at the heart of the Labor Party, and so he really emphasised the view of the Labor Party, I suppose, there. But certainly we'll be hearing more about this in the coming days. It's another sitting week here in Canberra of Federal Parliament, so we'll continue to get those reactions from people across the Labor Party.
Evelyn Manfield reporting.